Hello, everybody. We're back again with another episode of PTC Live. It's me, Stevie B at PTC, and we're bringing you another informative program about all things Piedmont Technical College and making sure that those individuals who are out in our communities have complete access to everything we're doing. We have another great guest today, good friend of mine, outstanding colleague. It's Miss Karla Gilliam, and Karla is the Dean of Curriculum and Online Learning. And how you doing today, Karla?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thank you for having me here today.
We're glad to have you. You provide, well, you're in charge of providing one of the most important services that we have at the college, particularly during this time of the pandemic and people being locked in and not being able to come on campus and those sorts of things. Karla is here today to talk to us about online learning and ways that we can be successful and to erase any fears students have about taking classes online. So Karla, as we start to talk about that, tell us a little bit more about online learning, what you do, and how you are available to help students and faculty in the whole online world of education delivery.
Sure thing. So as Steve mentioned, I'm the Dean of Curriculum and Online Learning. So I work with all of our different academic programs and make sure we have the curriculum in order for you. But the big thing that we're talking about today is online learning. And as you mentioned, with COVID and the worldwide pandemic, online learning has really grown in the last 6 months. It was growing even before then, but now at exponential speeds. So what I do with online learning is I manage our college's learning management system, which is called Desire to Learn. And that is where students log into their courses, complete their assignments, interact with other students, and we really try to make create an atmosphere that simulates our face-to-face courses as much as possible within the online learning atmosphere.
You know, now, before we go any further, just for a personal touch and something I think that's very, very important, you have a very unique experience, a personally unique experience with online learning yourself. And you were at one point, now that you're in charge of this and you know how to bring it forth, there was a point in time where you had never taken an online course and you were faced with the responsibility of having to do it yourself. Tell us about what your experience was and how that came about and how you worked through it.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I want to do today is try to alleviate some of the fear and intimidation people may have in taking online courses or coming back to school, being required to take online courses. I'd like to speak to you today also as someone who has worked full-time, as a parent, has completed 2 online degrees. So I understand the challenges that students face in taking online classes. You know, being at home, even as we've transitioned to COVID and we're having to work online, we're still facing some of those same challenges. My kids were at home, they're running around, but you know, it's really dedicating a space when you're at home and finding a place where you can try to reduce as many distractions or eliminate as many distractions as you can and focus on your schoolwork, but also remembering to take time out for yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest things as an online student for me, was realizing, yes, I have X, Y, and Z going on, and I've got my coursework that needs to be done, but I need to take care of myself as well. And I think that's very important in our current situation that we're in with COVID-19, is remembering to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that we get, and I've had when I have conversations with students about online learning, is there's this whole feeling, and you know, you have fears when things are foreign to you. Students have the idea that they're going at it alone when you're in an online learning situation. But that's not true. There is support. There are other people working along with you. They may not be there with you when you're taking the course or you're doing an assignment, but there's always a way to contact someone for assistance. Talk about that process a little bit for us, Karla, and what students can expect if they hit a snag and need to get in touch with somebody.
Absolutely. So all of our courses that are running online, do have instructors that are always available to help. And that's one thing I would encourage students taking online classes to do, is reach out to your instructor and really make your name known. And if you have any questions, reach out to your instructors. We're there, all of our faculty. I can't speak highly enough of our faculty here at Piedmont Technical College, but we're all here to help you be successful. And I know before we came live, we were talking about navigating online if you're not as familiar with technology. And I'd like to say that I feel like here at Piedmont Tech, we have the resources available to help those who may not be tech savvy, if you will, navigate their online courses and be successful. Students, when they log into their pathway accounts, which is their student accounts here at Piedmont Tech, we have a link that says D2L student assistance, where students can go there, get one-on-one assistance with even just how to navigate Desire to Learn and navigate their course, how to submit their assignments. So we have pieces in place to help students navigate their online courses, but we also have our faculty who, strive to make sure our students are successful in those courses.
I know for myself, several of the students that I have in my Genesis program who are new learners, some are traditional students who are 18 to 22 years of age. And, they're a little bit more tech savvy than some of our non-traditional students who are, 35, 40 years old. They're changing careers. And so those younger students, they're used to their iPhones and they're used to looking up stuff, and they're used to not having a real person in front of them as much necessarily as, what we call in the community, some of the old heads who are still trying to do things a little bit differently. But the success story that I have is that many of those individuals that are non-traditional students have latched on, have gotten into online learning. They've made their way through the nerves, and the intimidation. There is an intimidation factor when you're talking about technology. Isn't that true, Karla?
There is, and I'm glad you bring that up, because that's one thing that I hope we can accomplish today, is let you know that we're here to help you. Although it's normal to feel intimidated when you come into an online course. It's normal taking an online course to get to a point where you feel like you're all alone, and maybe nobody else is feeling as overwhelmed as you are about online courses. But reach out to your classmates in the class, really participate in the class, make sure you build a connection with everyone there, and you'll realize that there are more people within the class that are feeling the exact same way, and you can work together through that.
Sure. Now, I know you brought today, and I think you kind of started to go into them. I'm like, whoa, don't give away all of the material yet. We might have to, we don't want to have to ad lib too much, although I think we'd be great at it. You have some tips for online learning that you want to share, and you have some information that you put together for us that you want to share with our listeners. Let's talk about some of those tips that you have for online learning.
Sure thing. So as we've talked about equipment and being able to navigate equipment, of course, you're going to need to have a computer and a reliable internet access. But what do you do if you don't have reliable internet access at home? What do you do if you don't have a computer that meets those standards to be able to take an online course successfully? Well, here at Piedmont Tech, we have some pieces in place to provide. We have a student laptop loaner program. We have a program that we can provide MiFi or hotspots for our students who have trouble with internet access. And you can reach out to your instructors and deans of those programs who can help you secure that equipment that you may need. And also with the technology, we talked about the tools that we have in place to help you now learn how to navigate through the courses. But I also recommend testing your equipment out earlier. Test the software out early into the course. Don't wait until that first test is due to hop on there and try to take the test and run into problems. If you get on there and test and play with that software and technology early, we can try to fix any problems you may have before those deadlines.
Oh man, that's just great. You talked about our faculty members. I can't say enough about our faculty members. I've seen so many of them in every area, whether it's industrial technology, associate in arts, associate in science, our transfer programs have really, really locked in under your leadership and under the leadership of Dr. Feewax and the academic side of the house, and also the technology individuals that make all of this work. What a collective effort Piedmont Tech has put together to help our students stay on course, stay on track with their courses. And I think more and more people are are taking advantage of online learning. Haven't the numbers grown tremendously over the years?
Yes, I believe so. And then, you look at our current situation, we're in a position where people don't really have an option other than online learning. So, we do have a few face-to-face classes, but if you even look across the country, so many people with our current situation have had to transition to online. But I have to say, here at Piedmont Tech, I feel like we were positioned very well. We've been doing online learning for a long time. We didn't start mid-March. So we were positioned very well to make this transition to majority online with our current situation, and to be able to put these pieces in place, like our student laptop loaner program, our hotspot program. We had the foundation, if you will, to make that transition. So then just kind of adding the nuts and bolts to really making sure our students had what they needed to be successful.
Okay, Karla. So I'm in an online class. I'm student Steve, and I'm taking something that I would have trouble with, mathematics. If it's not 1 + 1, if you start adding letters, numbers, and equations and symbols, I'm in trouble. But there is a method to get academic assistance via online learning as well. Talk about how students can schedule meetings and talk directly with faculty members. And isn't there even academic assistance that can be given via online learning services?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, I always reach out to your instructor to get whatever assistance. But we have several pieces in place for tutoring, online tutoring. You can sign up for online tutoring through our website, and we also have a 24-hour, 24/7 system within D2L. It's called NetTutor, that students can log on and get online tutoring 24/7 for different subject areas.
Wow, 24/7.
24/7. So we have that available.
I was about to say, I don't want to be the one to get to have to do a specified time that I'm going to be on D2L as the tutor, and I get the shift from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right, it's a service that we offer. It's not our Piedmont Tech employees, but they work with our faculty members, and they know the content of the courses that we're teaching. And then all of our faculty members who are teaching online have virtual office hours every week. So students can take advantage of hopping in on the faculty's office hours and asking any questions, getting any clarifications or assistance that they may need.
When you talk about faculty members, I think it's important to touch on the fact that, our faculty members weren't trained to do online learning. It's a learning process for them as well. And therefore, I think that compels them to be more helpful and to be much more understanding when students who've never had to do this are now forced by the current situation to have to take courses online. What do conversations go? How do the conversations go with faculty members that I'm sure you have faculty members that ask you a lot of questions as well about the whole process of online learning?
That's interesting you asked that. I'm thinking about an email that I received not long ago, and as we transitioned online, and like you said, we had faculty members who may have never taught online before, and we're having to train them how to teach online. So your instructors or the faculty members were having to learn how to teach some areas online that may have never done it before, the same way that our students are having to learn. So I think it was an eye-opening experience to say, okay, now I understand the challenges that my students face. So I think our faculty, having gone through that and understanding the challenges because they were having to do it as well, or that really helps their perception of the struggles that our students may face, and they know to help the students address those challenges.
Absolutely. I get a number of questions from individuals in the community because I'm out and about doing community service on behalf of the college, and I'm just that outreach guy. Sometimes students get a little bit confused, and we want to talk a little bit about some terminology here, because I had a student just the other day who's a new online student ask me, Steve, now I know I'm online, but what do I have to do in this D2L? Talk about the D2L system, what it is, and how and what it does, and its role in relationship to online service delivery.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on that too, before I go into it, we offer different types of online classes. So when you say, what do I need to do in this online class? It depends on what type of online class you're taking.
Sure.
We have some online classes where you actually have a meeting day and time. So you log into D2L and the virtual conferencing software with the instructor, and you're literally having a class the same way you would if you were on campus. You're just doing it over the computer. We have some online classes where you don't have a scheduled meeting day and time. The instructor will provide the information and teach that information, but you don't have to log on at a specific time. You just have to have deadlines that you need to have things completed by. So it all kind of depends on what type of online class that you're taking. But D2L in itself, being our learning management system, that's where everything's going to be housed for the classes for students to take. That's where all of the content materials for the course are going to be housed. That's where any discussion assignments or homework assignments or tests, all of those things are going to be done within D2L. And D2L is where our instructors are going to email their students and communicate back and forth with them. So that's really kind of the house of your class. You know, as you would come, even our face-to-face classes use D2L.
Sure.
So that wasn't anything new for our faculty and a lot of our students who have been here prior to the shift to online. But yeah, that's the house of the course.
Another question that I got was a student called and was asking about what's available online, and they had some confusion about the term hybrid courses. Could you tell us a little bit more about what a hybrid course is, and how the delivery of those classes, or if the delivery of those classes differ any from what would be a traditional online course?
Sure thing. So a hybrid course is going to combine multiple ways of delivering a course. So for example, you may have a portion of your class where you come on campus, and you may have a portion of that same class where you do it online. So you would still have that D2L shell, you'll still use that. But let's say, I'll use for an example, you had a class that was normally Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 11:15. So that course, if it's a hybrid, may be set up where you come to class one of those days, and the other day you're doing your work online instead of physically coming on campus. So it's just a combination of those delivery methods.
Well, you just touched on one of the greatest things about our institution, our wonderful Piedmont Technical College, is that the flexibility in service delivery, the flexibility in how students can earn their degrees, the flexibility in how students can interact with instructors, they can interact with themselves in group learning situations. The D2L system is ever changing, ever evolving, getting better and better. And as that process continues, what are some of the things you see possibly on the horizon? What are some of the things that you tech folks are thinking about being able to do to even greater enhance the learning experience for our students?
Well, we're always looking at ways to engage our students more online. That's probably one of the biggest challenges in taking an online course, is making sure students stay engaged and they're interacting with the course. So I think as technology evolves, that's going to be one of the biggest areas that you're going to see a lot of improvements in student engagement. And, you know, as we've transitioned online, people have gotten so creative. It really is very interesting to watch and see how creative everyone's gotten on different ways to engage with the students. So that's kind of where I see us growing. But I think as we've transitioned online as well, due to the pandemic, that we had courses that were never taught online that are now being taught online. So I think it's opened up opportunities for growth even in online programs and the online offerings that we have year round.
You know, and this is an off the cuff question, but not one that's gonna that should trip us up too bad. I'm thinking, and I don't know the answer to this myself. Do you have an idea, Karla, what percentage of our students are taking online courses now? Are there any statistics out there about that? And I know I just that's just an off the cuff. I do have a question about something else, but that was just kind of an off the cuff, question of mine.
I don't have the answer to that, but in our current state, I would probably say, and this is just a guesstimate. It's nothing that's set in stone. But knowing how many courses I've seen on the curriculum side transition to online or hybrid, I would say 75, 80% of our students, maybe even higher than that, are taking at least one online course, probably multiple online courses in our current state.
Absolutely. One of the questions that comes up with online learning, and anytime you're doing things over the computer and those types of things, are safeguards. Students tend to think that, people tend to be concerned that if everything is secure, how protected am I? Are people going to be able to get in and get my passwords and other information? Are they going to be able to hack into my computer and get other stuff while I'm on campus? Talk about the safeguards and the programs that are keeping student information safe and the whole process of online learning secure.
Yeah, so we have of course, log in with a password to protect the student's information there. But and we're required by law to make sure that information is protected and it's not shared. Another thing that we're required to do is ensure that the student who is taking the course is actually the student who is taking the course. And I know that's one area across the nation where people have gotten concerned about privacy. Is their information being shared? Because we're having to do what's called remote proctoring. So that's how we verify identity for our students. And so the way that works is when a student logs in to D2L and they go to take their test, everything on their computer kind of gets locked down and they're locked into their test, and there's a webcam on them, and it's watching students take their test. It's watching the screen, making sure they can't open up any side tabs. And it really protects our academic integrity as well as an institution. But as soon as the test is over, that's released, and that information is only stored by Piedmont Tech for academic purposes. And we have 2 remote proctoring services that we use here at the college, and we vetted both of those programs and have privacy statements on file to make sure that students' information is protected, because their privacy is important to us as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as we move forward with online learning, the program's going to continue to grow. What do you find most fascinating and the potential for the greatest growth in our online learning processes? Are there things that you might say today that say, look out for this, it's going to be coming, it's going to be great?
Really, for me, it's look out for our faculty and the innovative and engaging approaches that they're fixing to bring to the classroom. We have learned so much in a short amount of time. Faculty, like we've said, never taught online before. And that's what's exciting for me, is seeing the creative ways that faculty are engaging with students and making sure and helping their students be successful in a challenging atmosphere. So that's what I say is that's what I'm most excited to see.
Yeah. And to add on to that, I want to give a shout out to our faculty. I want to give a shout out to you and your team of individuals and our IT group and all of these people that come together. In order to have this process work as smoothly as it does, there are a lot of pieces that have to come together to produce what comes to the student on the screen. And it takes a commitment on behalf of the college. And as a faculty member, I'm sure and you hear quite often as well, that our college, and you're proud of the fact, as I am, that we are constantly pursuing ways to engage our students and to be able to have our product education delivered to meet the needs of as many people as we possibly can.
Yes, and you know, Steve, as you talked about that, Piedmont Technical College is an innovative institution. It has been for years. We stay at the forefront of new technology coming out. Our faculty and staff are not timid or scared to try new ways, like you said, that we can reach out to more students to meet them where they are and help them get to where they want to be.
You just took my line. I was going to use it. I was like, man, I'm ready to throw that in there. You just ripped me off and duplicated it. But that is absolutely the truth. You know, meeting people where they are and taking them where they want to be. So our students in Greenwood, Lawrence, Edgefield, Abbeville, McCormick, Newberry, and Saluda, we're just here for them, right? And we know that it's difficult times. One other question I had here, let me ask you this too. You don't have to have, one of the students asked me, you don't have to have the absolute latest computer to be able to participate in online learning.
No, so what I have done actually recently is I worked with our IT staff and we pulled together a minimum computer standard recommendation list that we have posted on our website. So if you go to ptc.edu and under academics, go to the online learning page, have the recommendations for computer and hardware and software that students would need to take an online course.
Great. Another quick question is, if I am an individual that has a Chromebook or an iPad, can I take an online course on those devices?
So that's a little bit of a tricky question.
Okay.
Books, you can take classes on Chromebooks. However, we do know that we don't recommend Chromebooks. We know some of the software that some of our programs use is not compatible with Chromebooks. But I will say for our dual enrollment students, you know, we have a huge dual enrollment program here at PTC, and a lot of our school districts issue Chromebooks to their high school students. So as a college, we kind of worked around to find ways to still be able to accommodate those students to be successful as well. But if you're looking to purchase a computer to take online courses, we're not recommending a Chromebook. Some of the content in D2L is accessible via an iPad, but I don't recommend taking an entire course via a mobile device, because when you get into things that, you know, it's good to be able to look at your course materials, read your content, but when you get ready to take a test, a computer is probably the safest thing to be able to do those assessments on.
Well, I just wanted to get that out there to make sure. I was looking for, I'll let the cat out of the bag. I was looking for confirmation that I didn't give somebody the wrong information, because I was asked that question and I said, you know, I think you probably want a standard computer. iPads and Chromebooks may not be as compatible as the standard desktop or laptop computer. So I was right.
You were right. See?
Nobody's going to call you and say, you know, that Steve Coleman told me I could take this class on my iPhone, and I did not. So I wanted you to know that I answered that question correctly.
Very good.
It has been great. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and meet with us today on PTC Live. Any final thoughts you'd like to get out there? Any words of wisdom from a techie and a teacher?
Probably, I'll speak more from a teacher. It's just, we understand that taking online courses can be challenging, but if really keep yourself motivated. I can tell you, if I can do it, any one of you can do it. And just when you go through those times and you're trying to think, oh, I can't do this, think about what's your why. You know, why are you doing this? Those are things that are going to help you stay motivated through your courses. And just remember that our faculty and staff are here to help you any way we can to be successful. So don't hesitate to reach out to any of us.
I'm giving a hand clap to Karla Gilliam for being on with us today. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and share all of this valuable information with us. You know, as we always say, week in and week out, we're here for our students. We're here for our communities. Piedmont Technical College is meeting people where they are and taking them where they want to be. And we're going to continue to do that. Karla, thank you. And it's Stevie B from PTC signing off for this episode of PTC Live. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, and we'll have another fantastic information-filled show to share with you about what's going on at Piedmont Technical College. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.